Hello everyone, Jolene here from Bookworm Adventure Girl. Welcome back. I hope that you are all well. And if you are new, thanks for checking out my channel. Please hit subscribe and stick around. I wanted to put out a video for June 21st, but I have to be honest, I was struggling with it. I was originally going to do a tag, and then I was going to post a video on summer reads, but I thought a lot of people were doing that, which is great. So I thought about doing a video about Canadian authors for Pride Month, but I wasn't really feeling that either. And then I thought June 21st is also National Indigenous Peoples Day in Canada. Why don't I focus on that? And I thought that I would share a vlog with you about how I celebrated the day. So that meant the day had to happen for me to get the video, or to get the filming, and then the editing. So my Tuesday video has become my Wednesday video. So now I am still happy to share some summer reads and some Canadian LGBTQIA2S+ authors. So if that's something that you are really looking for and that you really want, just let me know in the comments below, and I will try and post something about those before the end of the month. So for today, I am going to share 5 books by Indigenous authors that are on my TBR that I hope to get to soon. And then after that, I will share with you how I spent the day on June 21st. If you have never been to a Tipi raising or seen a Tipi raising, then you will get a bit of that experience here. So first I'm going to share 5 books by Indigenous authors that I will be reading soon. I'm going to start with the book that I forgot to grab, but I will put a picture up. So if you've been watching my channel for any length of time, then you won't be surprised that Richard Wagamese is definitely on the list. I am actually currently reading one of his books, so you will hear more about that in my June wrap-up. But the other book by him that I want to get to, and that I've had for a while, and so I'm hoping to get to it sooner rather than later, is actually 2 novellas, and that is A Perfect Likeness. So Him Standing and The Next Sure Thing are both about young men who have talents and skills that can help them have better futures, or it can also hurt them depending on decisions that they make and how they use their talents. So I have read several of Richard Wagamese's books, but I have yet to read his novellas, so I'm looking forward to that. Next is I Am Woman by Maracle. The subtitle is A Native Perspective on Sociology and Feminism, and this book is, I think, autobiographical and connects Maracle's personal struggles with her heritage. And we unfortunately lost Maracle in November of 2021, which is a huge loss. I had the opportunity to meet her a couple of times, and she was just delightful and so full of life. So I'm really looking forward to reading some more of her work again. Next is an author that's been on my radar for a long time, and I have yet to read anything by him, and that is Richard Van Camp. And I want to read his book, Gather, on the Joy of Storytelling. And this book is all about storytelling, obviously, and how it connects us, which is something that I think is so important. And the next book is an anthology called Our Story, Aboriginal Voices on Canada's Past. And this has 9 stories in it, and many of the authors that I've actually talked about on my channel. So Thompson Highway, Thomas King, Maracle, Drew Hayden Taylor. And then there are a few new authors to me too, which I like. So I like that the book has representation of people living across Canada and also across the spectrum of First Nations. I think that this will be a really interesting collection to get into. And then the last book that I want to share has been the one that has been on my shelf the longest, like I want to say well over 20 years. So I really do need to get to it. And that is Stolen Life, The Journey of a Cree Woman by Rudy Wiebe and Yvonne Johnson. So this is a true story. There's a murder and a courtroom drama, and it is about how Yvonne Johnson was put in prison for life at the age of, I think, 26 or 27. She was first sent to Kingston Penitentiary, which I've talked about on this channel before, and this is the story about how she decided to speak out and break the silence. And since the book was written so long ago, when I do eventually read it, I will also maybe give like an update on what has happened since the book came out. But I think that this is going to be a very compelling read. So those are 5 books by Indigenous authors that I hope to pick up soon. Let me know in the comments if you have read any of these already, or if you are interested in any of them. Or maybe you have some books on your TBR that, you are hoping to get to and that are by Indigenous authors. I would love to hear about them. If you are interested, I will now start the vlog where you can learn more about the Tipi raising that I attended. Hello everyone. As you can see, I'm a little sunburnt. And that's because we spent the day outside today. It is June 21st, which is the summer solstice. But here in Canada, June 21st is National Indigenous Peoples Day. So why is this day important and why do we celebrate it? Well, the short answer is that it is a day for all people living in Canada to celebrate and to recognize the diverse cultures and contributions of Indigenous, Inuit, and Métis peoples. Today, the way that I decided to celebrate was to go to the Tipi raising that was happening on the campus where I work. And we had a great day, not without a couple of challenges, but I thought that we would share a bit about our day with you and what we learned. So now I probably don't have to tell you, but I'm white, so I am going to be sharing this experience as a white person. So many of you already know that I had an eclectic upbringing. I grew up with many families. That means that, I have been very blessed with many aunties, uncles, and family members. And I have many friends and people that I consider my family in my life who are Indigenous. So the teachings from the Tipi today reminded me of just how lucky I have been to have some of these teachings as part of my upbringing. And when we arrived on campus, there was already a Tipi up that the Tsuut'ina people had put up. And this is going to be the teaching Tipi on campus this summer. The Tipi that we raised today is a 21-foot Tipi. It is a lodge, which means that someone sleeps in it every night that it is up. And we had Sean Lee Cutter, who is Blackfoot, join us and teach us. And I'm going to show you footage of how the Tipi went from this lead pole with the animal skin and these four line poles to this finished Tipi. The 4 line poles need to be tied very tight and in a specific way because they are the foundation or anchor for all of the other poles. I don't have footage of these poles going up because I was helping with this part, but basically the women keep their feet on the ends of the poles where they'll be in the ground so they don't move when the men walk the poles up, and they do that until the four poles create the foundation for the Tipi. Once that is set, the other poles get added, and they are added in a specific way to give the structure more stability. then once all of the poles are up, the lead pole is put up and the animal skin is wrapped around the poles. Once the skin is on, 2 more poles are used to bring the ears out, and the skin is kept together using wooden pegs. A teepee raising takes a good amount of time and a lot of hands. It is very communal. You will hear people talk about all our relations, and raising a teepee is a good teaching for this. So staff, faculty, students, and community members were invited to help today. And people brought family members, including myself. I invited my mother to come along, and I'm so glad that she came. No one is told they can't be part of this, and every person from the youngest to the oldest is included and accepted. Before we begin the work, everyone is invited to smudge, and I don't have footage of the smudge because it is a prayerful time. Usually sage or sweetgrass is used, and people smudge for spiritual reasons. For protection and for spiritual and physical healing. So I have smudged many, many times, but my mom smudged for the first time today, and she is so glad that she did. You may have noticed that the skin was high up on the poles, which made it impossible to peg into the ground. So adjustments were being made with the poles themselves, and then they were trying to make some adjustments with the skin. So you can see where my mom was watching from her wheelchair. And at one point she asked if she could be moved into the shade. The sun was quite hot, so I moved her to a cooler spot. And about 5 minutes later, the teepee fell down, and it was quite dramatic. The good news is no one was hurt. Mom would have been hit by the teepee had she not moved, but other than a few of the poles breaking at the ends, everyone was safe. It was very disappointing, especially after all of that hard work. But after a break, we asked for help again, and we had more people come out the second time than the first time. And thanks again to Sean's guidance, we were able to raise the teepee a second time, and this time it was successful. So what were some things that we learned? Well, it was about the teepee, but one of the things that I enjoyed watching throughout the day was how this little fella was included. and how he was being taught throughout the day. And I could relate to him in many ways and how I was raised. He was given a job. He was responsible for putting all the like pegs together, and he was allowed to play. He was also everyone's responsibility. His mom was there, but everyone was responsible for him. He was encouraged to learn, to play, and to help by everyone. He made a connection to my mom, and he noticed that she had an oxygen hose, and he asked her about it and was acknowledged for asking questions and for paying attention. He was encouraged to spend time with my mom, to learn about her wheelchair and why she was in a wheelchair, and to help her. And his help also included medicine. He knew my mom couldn't walk, so he picked up some grass, his medicine, and rubbed it on her legs and knees. And my mom was given the title of grandma. You might hear some people say kokum, and kokum is grandmother or grandma in Cree. And I was given the title of auntie. Now, this is only hours after meeting him, and this is a sign of respect and a sign of relationship and a sign of acceptance. It's also an indication of our responsibility. It acknowledges that we took an interest in this young boy and we cared about him. So the teaching was about the Tipi today, but there was also teaching about acceptance and relationship. And at some point in the day, there was also teaching about the land, as I had the opportunity to see one of my dear friends and thank them for visiting. Well, if you are still watching, thanks for sticking around until the end. I hope you enjoyed the Tipi experience, and maybe you could, relate to some of the teachings and the things that I learned. Let me know if you did anything special to celebrate National Indigenous Peoples Day, or if you have ever helped raise a teepee. I look forward to chatting with you in the comments. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and don't forget to make every day an adventure.